One of my questions that I had prepared was I was going to ask what your routine is.
What? How did you find out? Like, what happened?
I was looking for Neptune and I found seaweed. So saying, oh, Lydia, it's not the same. We love you when you're coming back. It was always when you do a facial, you sell product. And if you don't sell product, you will be always struggling.
Hey, it's so good to see you, Lydia. I'm super excited to have you here. Nicole and I have been talking for a long time about getting you on the podcast.
Well, thank you, Ronit. I know we started probably 2 years ago talking about it, so I am glad that it's finally happening. It's really nice. I'm happy to share my knowledge with your community and with your listeners. Absolutely.
Now, Lydia, you are the I would say the icon of the pioneer in the aesthetics world as an educator, as an entrepreneur who brought a very unique ingredient into the skincare world, and that is the seaweed.
Yes.
So I'd love if you can, how did you find out? Like, what happened? What was it that you were looking for?
Did I dive into the sea?
Yeah, like I will
like a mermaid.
Why did that happen?
I was looking for Neptune and I found seaweed. So basically, as a beauty therapist, I'm from Poland, so when I came to USA, I worked as an esthetician in very prestigious spas and salons in Manhattan. And this is early 70s. And the truth of the matter, American women really did not care so much about their skin. It was more hair and makeup. So it was a very, I would say, a field in its infancy. But I have established a very good reputation with the Manhattan clientele. And in 1977, I've opened up my own skincare center on 53rd Street, right off Fifth Avenue, right, basically close to publishing world. Hollywood has its stars, but New York had always the publishing world, the fashion world, the Madison Avenue, the advertising, the mega companies. So early on, my clients have become the beauty editors, the fashionistas, the CEOs of various different companies from Clairol to Unilever. And I've built my reputation very strongly. And by 1979, I've decided to have a baby, and I have taken some time off. And I was getting all kind of phone calls from my clients saying, oh, Lydia, it's not the same. We love you when you're coming back, with the baby on one boobie. And I'm like, well, I don't know, let me, I will try. I will do my very best. But at the moment, I'm not there. But that really forced me to think why, while it may sound very flattering that your clients love you and they only want you, I was looking at it from a business perspective. And I would say, why are they not satisfied with my staff, with my team? And I thought they were pretty good. Obviously, they were not meeting the expectations of my client. And I thought, what can I do in the future? Future was back then, of that will make every client think, feel, and see the results that they get with me. Because I don't want to be the only fabulous and best esthetician in the world. I want all estheticians and beauty therapists to be fabulous. So how do I make it happen? And my whole concept and idea came from, being back then in my 20s, you need to think of your biological clock. You need to think of your environmental. What will happen to the skin when we will be in our 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s, and now I'm in my 70s? What will happen to it? What are the structures, not just from biological perspective, but how much beating is our skin going to get from the environment? And that really made me dive into what would be the perfect ingredient. What would be the ingredient, the one ingredient that is perfect for all, that will deliver everything internally and externally that our skin needs from the holistic approach and from the health approach. And literally, I dive into the seaweed because it was just such a great ingredient that was being utilized in Israel, for example, in the agriculture where you had delicious fruits and vegetables growing in the desert, and you go like, how is that possible? Must be a miracle. And I discovered early on in the 70s that seaweed is being used as a biostimulant, as a fertilizer. That brought me into north of France, the Brittany coast, where 2.2 million tons of seaweed are harvested annually for the purpose of agriculture and food industry. So I thought, if this is what they're using to nourish the earth, that every 7 years they have to stop planting because earth needs to remineralize itself, why not the skin? Why not to deliver these great nutrients to the skin? And seaweed, what is great about seaweed, that it suffers from no deficiency. It's rich in 42 trace elements, minerals, 18 amino acids, phytoestrogens, 12 vitamins. And as we know, amino acids are the building blocks of protein, and they deliver strength, resilience, and wonderful skin rejuvenation. I mean, from nutritional perspective, it's the best food you can eat. Japanese people eat an average of 2 ounces of seaweed a day, some more. And remember, when I started with seaweed, nobody even knew what sushi is.
Right.
No one knew what seaweed is.
Yeah.
And I remember my early on interviews on TV or newspapers was like, ooh, seaweed, is that the stuff that, is in the water, slimy, all of those things. So
Slimy.
slime, yeah. So and that slime is so good for you because it has all of the bioactivities of seaweed in it. And by the way, there is a female seaweed and a male seaweed, and seaweeds have sex, by the way.
Really?
Ooh.
Wow, that's
I did-
nice.
Hanky, hanky.
Oh, that's not slime, though. Just kidding. I got it.
So
Well,
seaweed releases spores in the springtime, and then new seaweed grows. So, we don't have bees pollinating seaweed. So something else has to happen in order for it to reproduce itself. But seaweed is really one of the most remarkable plants that we have. And when you really think about it, 2/3 of our earth is covered by oceans, and 2/3 of our earth has seaweed. So seaweed is also an incredible source for our oxygen, for breathing. Without seaweed, it's not just the Amazon forest, but it is really the seaweed that delivers life to us all.
Yeah, well, it's I have no idea that seaweed can actually have babies, which is good to know.
Yeah.
Now, this episode is sponsored by Salon Cadence, the only global advisory network helping salon and spa and med spa CEOs scale to 7 and 8 figures without a burnout. This is not a do-it-yourself program. This is do it with you and for you. From profit-first system to team-run leadership. First, we fix the numbers, then we create the wealth, then we focus on CEO mindset, and we build the process with your team to give you the ultimate freedom to become the true CEO and visionary you are. We have helped thousands grow widely successful for freedom-driven companies in beauty, wellness, and regenerative medicine. If you're ready to grow, scale, and live a wealthy life, visit saloncadence.com. Now, one of the most important things that you can invest in and not do it yourself, I highly recommend mysalonbooks.com. Salon owners that are tired of never knowing if you're actually profitable or where your money is going, on what your money is doing for you or against you. The team at My Salon Books takes the stress off your plate. They are specialized in salon booking, providing real-time insight and financial clarity so you can focus on what you do best, running a thriving salon. Here at Salon Cadence, we recommend mysalonbooks.com. It is the only bookkeeping management that utilizes the profit first the right way. So go to mysalonbooks.com to learn more and get free evaluation of your own books.
So that's how you decided to bring it into the skincare. But let's talk a little bit. And I think that back then nobody used that ingredient. I think you were, the first one who used that ingredient. And so what I'm excited to go over today with all of our listeners is how can you create wealth in the skincare, in the wellness, whether you're a solo esthetician or you're in a big company. Because as we know, and I love to dive into it too, Lydia, because you have years of experience. You've seen the world goes great economy, not such a good economy, poor economy, all the stuff that happens all the time. And yet I think people need to know that the opportunity and the I guess I would say the opportunity to build a very wealthy and happy life in this industry is abundant. But yet so many people, even right now, are really in a place where they're not really doing so well. They're struggling. So going back to it, I'm thinking to myself, are they really struggling? Is this really different than what happened 10 years ago? Is it different than what happened 20 years ago? What this industry needs to know on that? So I'm really happy to talk about all of it today, because who knows better than you, Lydia? Really.
So there are many, I think in your statement or question, there are so many different elements that need to be touched on. Are maybe number one, are people are really struggling? I think people are really struggling, and they're struggling on the emotional level. We know that wellness and health are really very much related to the emotional level, the emotional component. And very often for beauty therapists, estheticians, massage therapists, they work solo. So they don't have another team member that they can discuss, share, or be encouraged in sometimes difficult situations. And working solo can be very challenging mentally, emotionally. So this is something that I hear a lot from solo estheticians, from solo cosmetologists, that they feel very emotionally challenged. And I think that's the right word. So how do you resolve that issue? Well, I think that maybe the time is to create your own community. There are many other solo estheticians that might be in a similar situation. Create that community. You know, if you are a community of 10, there are 10 other estheticians or cosmetologists that are in the similar maybe mental stage that you are. You can exchange ideas, learn together. I really strongly believe that learning is a perspective that is sometimes not viewed in the right way, because when you learn, you emotionally grow. And when you learn, you're not only intellectually growing, emotionally growing, but you're growing your ability to do better business. I just finished a 2-day masterclass here that I had 12 estheticians that came from all over, and some of them were solo estheticians, some of them were coming from a large spa where there are 50 or 60 employees. And the first day, the first couple of hours, the solo estheticians, I just saw sadness in their face. They were just so sad, not happy. And after 2 days, they were empowered and were leaving all smiling. And I said, so what has changed in the 2 days you were here? I feel empowered. I feel that you have addressed my emotional needs. So it wasn't just science, but it was also the emotional need. So I think that when people feel stressed, when people feel like, oh my God, there is no light at the end of the tunnel, don't stay in that tunnel, get out, see the light and connect, because building community is very important. This is why, going to church, going to synagogue, going to mass is such an important element of that emotional intelligence, emotional healing. When people stay alone, and I think COVID was very detrimental for our mental health, because it really forced people to stay isolated, and we need to get out of it. We need to participate, we need to be a part of the community, which is very important. When it comes to building wealth, I think the key important element that sometimes people don't pay attention to is budget. It's like we all love spending money, but do we know how much money do we really have to spend? Of course, credit cards make it so easy. You feel like a drunken sailor on a night out, and you just go ballistic, spending. But do you have the money to spend? So wealth comes with knowing what is that you can spend. Budget is very important. If you have $1, spend 80 cents. Don't spend $1.50, spend 80 cents. And especially in US, the society is so
and the consumer
tourism, with the debt, with the easiness of getting credit cards, is so, I think, in abundance, and people feel like, oh, I can just go get a credit card. How are you going to pay for it?
Right.
And credit card companies and bankers sometimes are just horrible, because they will say, get a credit card, no interest paid for 6 months, but you accrued the interest. And all of a sudden, if you took 500, you're going to owe at the end of the 6 months period $1,000. So one rule I have learned as a kid: you spend what you have, keep a little bit behind, never overspend. Don't spend the money you don't have, and you will build your wealth.
And I love that. I think that's so important. I didn't even think you're going to bring something like this up.
You gave us a lot of nuggets here. I mean, if I could just recap, essentially, you lead and mentor countless estheticians, and you're saying that a mistake that they could make is by not prioritizing community and
Correct.
not prioritizing understanding their numbers, which is so incredibly aligned with what we do at Salon Cadence.
That is the two most important things. If you don't understand the money part, and even if you don't understand it, you have to know, I have $1. Am I going to spend $1.50, or am I going to spend 80 cents? And you always have to spend 80 cents, not $1.50. And if you practice this on daily basis, you will grow. And if you don't, you will be constantly in financial problems.
Yeah, and I love that. So I love that we're talking about that, because that's the basics first that everybody needs to know. It's and sometimes though things happen, and suddenly you do need to spend a little bit more if something breaks and you need to spend more. And so what Lydia is saying is, if you only spend 80 cents and you took the other 20% and put it aside, at one point that will get to the point where you can utilize these funds.
You have your cushion. You have your cushion. And I think that's very important. And so many people, not just in our beauty business, everywhere, they live paycheck to paycheck. They never have a little reserve, even with what's happening today in the world. You must have a little reserve. You must have, I always say, always build a cushion so you can survive no matter what for at least 6 months if nothing is coming in. And so many people don't think about it. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. Can you survive 6 months? Because I think that 6 months, it's that crucial period.
I love that. And if we can even touch base on that, Lydia, before this empire of Repêchage and what you've built in the academy and the education, you're in your 70s, but you're still working as if you were in your 30s. You're so passionate about it. But before we dive into that success of today, I would love if you can take us back to your most challenging moments in business, that point where everything seems to be like, this is just not going to happen. This is just the hardest thing. I don't even know if I want to carry on. What happened that moment that changed your mind and got you through moments like that?
Yeah. But you see, in business, it's not just in the beginning that they're difficult. Business is like a heartbeat. It's up and down, up and down, up and down. There is never a flat line. Just recently, even a month ago, we were faced with a tremendous challenge. We were hacked by the hackers that demanded $5 million ransom.
What?
Yes. And you have this, horrible black cloud over your head, that you have now FBI involved, police involved, insurance involved, Homeland Security, because it's a big deal. It's a big deal. So
Wow.
did I feel I want to throw in the towel? Did I have sleepless nights? I will tell you no, because I will be lying if I will tell you yes. Because I have learned early on, if business have taught me anything, is that you cannot go crazy and lose your mind over the things that you have no control of. I have no control over the hackers. So by me being upset and crazy and lose sleep, how is that going to help me? So you just deal with it. And whether you are starting your business or you're a mature business like Repêchage is, you basically look at the situation, you try to solve it. Being a good business person is knowing how to solve problems, because you will always have problems in business. There is no such thing as a flat line. Flat line means you are dead, okay?
Yes.
So being a successful business person means knowing how to solve problems, because problems will occur all the time. There's no such thing as being in business and there are no problems.
I love that. And it's scary. I mean, and that happens through the whole course of running a business.
Yes.
With this podcast or our show, it's Living a Profitable Life show, we're going to bring you so many great guests and lessons and teachings. So it's really is wonderful to have our partners, sponsors that helping us make this possible for everyone. But it is you who are going to make us better. So I'm asking you to always comment and let me know, how was this episode? Was it helpful? What else would you like to learn? What else would you like to see? It's predicted within the next few years, this industry, this beautiful beauty industry around the world is going to be growing by 8 to 10% incremental. That means opportunities to grow, to develop, to anything you want to be in this world. The thing is, the more you subscribe and share it with your friend, the more I can make this podcast be the best place for you. Any subject that you find is necessary, let us know. So please subscribe and help us get to at least 1,000 downloads. Once we get there, we'll celebrate.
I'm with you. I mean, this has been actually a pretty interesting year. There were a lot of ups and downs for us, Nicole, weren't they? We had some major highlights and we had some major downs. But what I love the most is the journey. And
Right.
like you, I feel 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago, maybe, things would drive me crazy. And today, I just don't go too crazy.
Yeah.
Even the things that I can control.
Right.
No, it's a process.
It is a process, and I think that we can look at every situation and we can say, "Oh my God, I'm ready to jump off the Verrazano Bridge or Golden Gate Bridge, wherever you are," and then you say, "Why?" It is not something that will change your life at the long term and the long run. So you just have to be smart about it.
I think community is a key to everything. When you build clientele, if you look at this as building community, I think right there, even though that you are in one room, you still are two people in a room.
Right.
I think the what probably were when you were talking about it, it made me think how lonely it is out there in the top when you are the one who's running yourself, whether you're a solo esthetician or whether you're in the company. And when you created the academy, and we just came out from, when David was at his birthday in Israel, this was our 3 days event. And nothing replaced getting together. Nothing replaced about being in the same place, So what are the things that any esthetician can learn today, that how can they maximize and have a potential of earnings? Because I hear this a lot. We get a lot of customers and a lot of people, how they're just, even funny enough, I just listened to, I was reading a comment on one of the Facebook group, Lydia, out there that said, "Hey guys, I just wanted to know if anybody here is having good sales this year. How is it?" And not just in skincare. I'm talking about all service care.
Right. So I think number one that I have learned early on is that proper prior planning prevents, as my good friend from Boston said, piss poor performance. So what does that mean? When it comes to a facial or hair or manicure, or, for me, in my segment of the beauty wellness business, was always when you do a facial, you sell product. And if you don't sell product, you will be always struggling. So from early on, from the day I've opened my spa in 1977, I have said to our team, doing facials, it's bread. Selling product is butter. And the bread will go down easier when we put some butter on it. So there is no question about that. We will not recommend products for the client. And I remember distinctly one of the clients came in and she was, "I already have everything. I don't want to buy anything. I'm just here to get a facial." And I politely have said to this client, "I am very sorry to inform you, we don't just do facials. We actually care for our client, and not only how we care for you when you're here, but how you care for yourself and the wellness of your skin at home. So we might not be the right place for you. And I thank you for considering us, but I would say with not the right outfit. And my girls in the front were like speechless. They couldn't breathe for a second. But I was very adamant about it. I felt very strong that if I am taking care of your skin, I want you to take care of your skin at home the way I want you to take care of your skin at home. Because when you're going to be 70 and you don't want to have wrinkles, you've got to follow my routine. And, no Botox in the world will help you with that, because you still will look like an alien if you put
One of my questions that I had prepared was I was going to ask what your routine is.
Yes, well, it's all about repêchage, facial and treatments. I have every decade my favorite. For decades, I always had the 4-layer facial. And now I switched on to our brand new triple action lift peptide cryofacial, which really, truly is a game changer in the way your skin looks right away. And the new peptide 3 products that really deliver brilliant results. We've launched it in August. I've been in Poland. I've been everywhere in North America, and we are doing just very well. And for my salons that use repêchage and estheticians, it's a real true game changer for their business as well. They are able to deliver real true results immediately, with clients going crazy because their skin never looked better.
Follow this up with at home.
Yeah, our trio of the peptide products. So I use, the peptide serum, our triple action cryopeptide serum, the peptide cream, peptide mist spray, and a cleanser that I use is a sea cleanse. So very short routine, very effective, and it works. It works for me anywhere I go.
I think skin is so important to anyone, because that's your biggest organ in your body. And if you don't take care of it, then you do look aging. And today you don't have to age. I mean, people who are in their 70s or 60s or 50s or 40s of today are so different in their look than what 40s and 50s used to look. Thank God for all the, the advanced technology and peptides and everything.
Also, it's the attitude, Ronit.
It is the attitude.
It's the attitude which is very important. I think that the New York state of mind, the song by Frankie, or who was it, Billy Joel, one of them, the New York state, I think was Billy Joel.
Billy Joel, yeah.
So what is it? What is the New York state of mind? It's being involved. It's being cultured. It's going to theater. It's going to the opera, going to a museum, reading. That's what keeps people going. Walking. New York City. Everybody walks in New York City. People. Again, it's very different when you live in the suburbs, because to go and get a half a gallon of milk, you got to get into a car. In Manhattan, we walk everywhere. So I think that people just live a healthier lifestyle in a larger metropolitan cities, because we are a little bit more active when it comes to physical activity, but also mental activity. And I think that's very important.
I agree with that. I also think that, and I don't know how it is with you, Nicole, because you're obviously a couple of years younger than us.
Just like 1 or 2.
Just couple.
Just 1 or 2.
But it is. I feel like the youth of today is where it used to be. People used to think that the older, more mature clientele are the one that has the money, and you want to serve them. But I think it's a total opposite today. I think today the youth is really aware of how they look like. They take care of. They use more money than ever on the skincare products.
Well, the millennials are a great market. Many, because they have more disposable income. They have mommy and daddy that helps out with rent and everything else. So that generation has a lot more disposable income, and they really do take care of themselves in a whole different way. So I think, when we used to focus on the baby boomers and the matures, the millennials, the Gen Xs, all that generation. Today, I have my granddaughter who is 18. I mean, she's taking very good care of her skin, and she always has since she was a little girl. So today, the younger generation grew up actually with taking care of their skin. So a little bit different than the baby boomers, that they did not knew that much about skincare, and they would go and tease their hair and get their nails and makeup, and they thought that's skincare.
This episode is sponsored by Forest Salon Software, the all-in-one solution designed to help salon, spa, med spa owners really deliver with confidence and really design and drive their company to success. Forest isn't just a booking system. It is your machine that will help you grow your company with smart marketing and real-time reporting, staff performance tracking, and world-class support. And I mean world-class support, because I wouldn't even recommend Forest if they didn't have a world-class support. Now, so whether you're scaling to 7 figures or streamline your operation or need to fix things and tighten things up, Forest can help you make smarter decisions and deliver the luxury experience that your clients and your members really need. If you're ready for a software that is all in and grows with you and support you for a truly team-run company, just visit Forest.com and discover why thousands of salons trust Forest. And mention Salon Cadence and you'll get a perk. This episode is sponsored by Vish, the smartest color management system for profitable salons. Vish tracks your color usage, reduces waste, and helps you charge accurately for all color services, so you can protect your profit and grow with confidence. You know that we are all about profit and how we live a profitable life of course, by design. You can definitely make it so easily, and I've seen it, the actual results on the P&L. Vish makes it happen. Now join thousands of salons using Vish to scale smarter. Head to getvish.com and see the difference for yourself.
I'd love to, Nicole, were you going to say something? Oh, I heard a little
Yeah,
back.
there's like a little feedback.
There is, right? I was wanting to ask you, Lydia, for somebody who is building their med spa, their skin, whether it's in the salon or whether it's just really specializing just in skincare or wellness center health. What do you see as a success, and what really does any kind of owner needs to know? I hear like feedback. Like, what happened? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do hear the feedback. Why don't I try to mute and then you talk and we can do process of elimination. Hold on.
I can't talk. Can you talk? Oh, I can talk now, and I don't hear feedback. So, or maybe I do. I don't know. What about you, Lydia? Do you hear the feedback?
I hear it, but not. I mean, I know what you're talking about, but it's not very disturbing.
Okay. Well, we'll delete that. But Lydia, what does it take to be a successful owner? I want to invest. I want to grow. I want to really expand that department.
Okay. Number one, invest in people that want to learn. That continued education is a key. If you have your employees that have an attitude, I already know everything, that's not a good employee. So invest in continuous education and learning, because that is the most important thing. And I see this all the time, even when I get seasoned estheticians. And in my masterclass, I always go over the histology, anatomy. So many of them was like crickets. I'm like, how many main layers is the skin composed of? How many lymph nodes do we have in the face? Okay, so investment in continuous learning is a key. People something ask me, why do you still teach? I love it. I love to see how the estheticians get improved after 2-3 day masterclass. So for 2026, I decided to teach 5 times a year, 3-day master course where they will learn really truly the skin, the histology, the wellness. What is a microbiome? Everybody talks about it. Nobody knows what it is. What is a pH? What is a healthy pH? How do you peel? Do you not peel? All of those things are really important. So continued education is a key. Avoid micromanaging, because if you provide the right education, you should be able to have the belief that that person does the right job. But how do you know that that person does the right job? How do you quantify what is the right job? To quantify what is the right job for estheticians or hairdressers, do they return their clientele? What is the percentage of a client return? What are their sales per client? Do they reach your goal, which should be 50-50? When you do $100 in service, you should be able to do $100 in retail. So you quantify it, because if I say, well, she does great, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. She does great because I have the sales, I have the client return, and a good client satisfaction. So you need to look at all of that, and you need to choose a brand. I always find that especially the mistake that solo estheticians make, they have way too much product, way too many different brands. So they waste the money on buying things that they never use, instead of looking at who is my client, what is their age group, and let me focus on the brand that will address the needs of my age group of the client. So when you're a solo esthetician, you should have very limited amount of products. If you're a salon with 3 or 4 or 5 estheticians, you want to have different groups. You know, you may have clients in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. All of that is really important. I dive into this client group and profiling of the client in my book because that is so important. You know, when people say, oh, we have all kinds of clients, I don't believe in that. You know, I believe that every salon or solo institution has a specific client base on demographics and age group. So I think you focus on that, don't overspend, have financial planning, and be very clear if you have a group or a team of what your expectations are. What do you expect from that person? Because so often I hear, oh, my boss just lets me do whatever. You know, really? It shouldn't be whatever. It should be a system, a method, and you should be able to verify. Everybody wants to have the verification. Am I doing okay? Yeah. Verify my success. Are you happy with what I deliver? And if there is no such thing and review on monthly basis, you feel lost as an employee.
Yeah, I think that all of those are good merit. We see that more than anything. And even you said that make sure you provide a very good education, because if you provide a very good education, you don't have to micromanage.
Right.
And I think that's super important, because even there's going to be a lot of people who think different about what is a good education. So Lydia, in your experience, what is a good education? I mean, how often do you educate? Is it once a week? Is it 3 times a week? Do you acquire new talent and you teach them from scratch, or get somebody who is more established? You know, what does consider good quantifying numbers, you know, that people can actually compare or shoot for?
Well, I will tell you, learning is a daily occurrence. It's like drinking water. You don't drink water once a week. You drink it every day and throughout the day. So you learn every single day throughout the day. Everything that you do should be a learning experience. Having a mentor that is very successful, kind of looking at how they behave with their client. What is it they say? What is their etiquette? How do they look? All of that plays an important role. So you learn every single day skills. You learn every single day etiquette. You learn every single day proper communication with the client. And you learn every day, how do I look? What is the perception with a client look? And I have seen some really, and I believe everyone is beautiful, but don't come into a salon or workplace looking like you have just rolled out of bed. That has no place. And somehow, being in the beauty business, I have seen some bad actors, you know, in our field. The hair is awful, the makeup non-existent, terrible nails. And I'm like looking at it and say, you're really in the beauty business? Are you kidding me? I wouldn't have you wash my dog, never mind touch my skin. So, you know, these are the things that we need to put in protocol and in etiquette. What else you should be learning is communication skills. Read a book. Nobody reads books anymore, but that's very important. When you read books, you gain vocabulary, and your vocabulary is your world of communication. If you have no vocabulary, you cannot communicate. You answer yes and no and maybe, but that's about it. And always look at, you know, I believe so much in learning and in communicating and in etiquette and setting the right standards. And sometimes the boss of the place is not a good example. So how do you want the employees, who are they following? You've got to have leadership. And leadership, if you want to be a boss, that means leader. You've got to show up. You've got to behave as a leader. You've got to empower your staff. You've got to treat them the right way, and they will treat their clients the right way. Ritz-Carlton has a wonderful motto. They say, we are ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. And if you are really thinking, behaving, and acting like a gentleman and a lady, you will be successful. That's very important.
No, it's, I guess, carry your brand. What is your brand? What's the look that you're looking for? Some of the things that we always hear, and I know you and I talked about it many times, is when you are the missed opportunities of not selling retail, not really selling products, and how important it is to sell, is to become very good representative of your brand. So how do you train your staff to be a better communicator on products?
Right. So it's really all about knowledge. I'm going to go back to knowledge. So we train all of our clients on three important elements. Communication, ask the right question. So what is the right question? I'll give you just an example. If I ask you, Ronit, do you need anything today? Your answer will be no. But if I ask you a question that says, Ronit, what are your concerns with your skin today? We're opening up a communication. You will tell me it's dehydrated or dry, or I have wrinkles, or I have blackheads. So then I build on what I hear. Got 2 years. I will listen to your answer very carefully. And then I will answer, in order to address your concerns, Ronit, I am recommending our brand new peptide serum. Now, you will never say, no, I'm not interested, because you have just told me that your concern is dehydration. But if I ask you a question, do you need anything today? You will answer no. So first of all, we teach communication, how to ask the right question to get the right and to give the right answer. Number two, knowledge of the ingredients in the product, because if I'm recommending to you based on your concern, I better know what ingredients you need to have success and where that ingredient is. So product knowledge of ingredients is a key important element. And the third element that is very important when we teach the art of recommendation is knowing the client's lifestyle. So if I know that you have 3 homes and that you're flying a lot, I need to create a skincare routine for you that will fit your lifestyle. But if I know that you are a worker that works at night in the factory and you want a proper regimen, and I'm going to give you 2 products, maybe 3, and I will be focusing on what do you do when you come off your night shift? What is important will be body wellness, circulation improvement, lymphatic drainage, and here are the products that you will need to take care of yourself. So communication based on what is the client potential? I always sell on the client potential, and that's what I teach. Don't sell me things that I don't need. Don't recommend things that don't fit my lifestyle, or I will not buy them. I can hear you.
Oh, that was
Now I hear you.
that was a mute moment. I think, like what you just said, it's the answers are always in the questions, and
Yes.
to really know exactly what they really need, you do need to ask those questions, and
Yeah.
it has to come from the heart. It really has to come from the heart. I guess I have one question for anybody who, Lydia, wants to build a product company. If you can share with anyone what success looks like, what does it really cost? What sacrifice that you had to do with your personal life and in your growth period? What does it take to build a really good product company? If anybody wants to venture into that and want to be Lydia.
Right. Well, you have to start 50 years. Success takes 50 years. But, the reality of building a factory is very expensive. Who is going to, you have to have a business. I'm not saying it's not possible, but to build a cosmetic factory today, in today's world, will take at least $5 to $10 million to just get the equipment, get the machines. Then you need chemists, regulatory chemists, R&D chemists, control I mean, there's just a lot of different things that go in. I think that a lot of people today tend to do contract manufacturing or just going into private label. There are companies that do basic formulations, and you come in and you put your label on it, and then you spend your money on marketing that because it has your name on it. It really depends on what is your financial situation, what is your knowledge. I would not venture into manufacturing without having experience and knowledge, or having partners that have a knowledge in a particular segment. It is not an easy thing to do, I can tell you that.
Well, I'm sure not, but I am also sure that when you started, you didn't have $5 or $10 million, or back then maybe even one. Yeah, you
But
started from the beginning.
yeah, what I had was a very good business acumen, that I knew where to get the money, even if I did not have the money yourself or myself. So for me, it was number one in US. Women are still what? We are the less than
Minority.
we are
Minority.
the minority.
Yeah.
And there are organizations for minorities like women that have actually money available. So if you write a very good business plan, and you have good accountants and you have good lawyers that can help you to dot every single I and cross every T, and you go in the front of the committee and you present what is that you're going to do, there is money available. That's how I got money from AWED and SBA, Small Business Administration loans. So the money is available, but you've got to have the track record. You've got to have credentials. They're not going to give you a $5 million check if you have no credentials. What did you do? Who are you? What have you accomplished? What is your education? What is the market that you want? So definitely, I mean, that's why some people get into the business, because they have the right business acumen. Many don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's good to know. It's good to know that it's out there, it's available. I think a lot of people don't know where to go, where to start,
Lydia, I have a question for you. You said earlier that as an owner, you should invest in people who like to learn. And you're one of the greatest mentors in your industry, but who has been the greatest mentor for you?
My father was the greatest mentor in my life that I had, my mother. But my father was in business, in his own business, in a communist country, which was almost unheard of. And growing up as a child, I have seen how he treats his employees, what he does, how he builds the team, how he inspires the ones that are not even in a very bad situation. Do you know what I mean? So I've learned it early on. My father would bring his employees home. My mother would cook, dinner for them at the end of a hardworking day. And they were all dirty because my dad used to distribute coal. So they would all walk into the kitchen, and my mother's pristine white napkins and everything else. And they were sitting there with, black hands and coal underneath their fingertips. I mean, I always wanted to just, even as a kid, go and clean their nails. I want to clean their nails, I want to get the dirt out from underneath their nails. But I learned one thing, that if you treat people well, if you treat them how they ought to be, not how they are, that the person will respond in the right way. If you treat a person as they are, they will remain as they are. So by uplifting and treating them of where they could be or should be, the entire thing changes, and people want to be with you. I have employees that work with me for over 30 years, 33 years, some, I think, almost 40 years. So where is the longevity? The longevity, it's not that I'm paying them millions of dollars. The longevity is because of how they're being treated. And it has to be genuine, and if they do wrong, believe me, I'm the first one to sit down and say, this is not the way it is done. This is how we need to do it. I will never kind of shy from doing correction on what is that they are doing. In fact, every time we have an event, every time we have education, anytime we do anything, we always at the end sit down, and sometimes I can see on the face, okay, here she goes again. But it's a learning process, because what we did today, we need to improve it tomorrow.
I love that. I think that that's the key for everything. What do you think, Nicole?
It's all about the people, isn't it?
It is all about the people. You're right. Yeah.
It's the people, it's the product. It has to be genuine. It has to be authentic. It has to work. I always say life is not Vegas. You can fake it until you make it. It has to be real. It has to be truthful. If it is truthful, if it is authentic. I will never tell anyone, oh, you're going to make millions, you don't have to do anything, you don't have to work. No, you have to work. But I think you have said in the beginning, Ronit, working smart. And in my book, one of the first sentences is work smart, not hard. So if you work smart, you won't have to work hard. Of course, you're working, but when I say you don't have to work hard, means that when you are working, you're accomplishing. When we feel we're working super hard is when we feel we're working, but we're not seeing the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, and for anybody who's listening, it's a must-read book. I literally read the book in, I would say, one day, but I would say it really took me 3 days. On my way to New York, I had to read it.
The book, my book, Success.
Success at your fingertips.
Great pictures in it. If anybody wants to learn the journey of what Lydia had to go through just to learn like multiple cultures and how to be successful. And
here's my cute daddy. With
I love all these pictures are amazing, just amazing. What a great concept for the book. It's almost like a memoir with an education piece of really how to be successfknow in your practice.
Right. Because I wanted people to be inspired that, when you feel like it's the end of the rope and you need to hang yourself, you need to look at it that the end of the rope is not always the end, but it's the beginning of something new. And I think that's very important, not to fall into despair, because every closed door leads to another door that you're going to open, and that you're going to build your life differently, better, or just different. So never despair. It's never the end. It's always the beginning.
Yeah, it is true. I love that. All right. I think we're wrapping up here, and we typically have a couple of great rapid questions, and they're fun. Are you ready for them?
Sure.
Okay.
Lydia, what is your definition of success?
My definition of success is accomplishing what I have accomplished, raising a beautiful family, having wonderful life with my husband, with my children, with my friends. To me, that's an ultimate definition of my success. Helping other salon owners become successful, other estheticians becoming successful, that's my success. Vidal Sassoon always said, if you don't look good, we don't look good. I always say, if you're not successful, I'm not successful.
Oh, I love that. I think that I like that a lot. What's your superpower?
My inner strength.
And seaweed.
And seaweed.
What's your biggest failure, and what did it teach you?
My biggest failure, I'm trying to think. I don't want to sound too snobbish, but I never really had a failure. And I feel that, anyway, I don't remember. I've been alive for a long time, but I don't really feel that I had big personal failures in my life. I had situations that have occurred in my life, like what has happened to my family in Poland. But that's not my failure. That was a failure of the system. And you just come out of it stronger and better. So while I personally would not say that's my failure, it was a failure of the government, it was a failure of the system, the failure of the time, but that only made me stronger.
Well, if you had a bullet board anywhere, what would it say on it?
Lydia did it her way.
That's a good one. Lydia.
I love that.
I do too. Well, anyone, if you want to learn anything about skincare, how to grow your department of skincare, for anybody out there, Lydia, one last thing. Why Repêchage is such a good brand to partner with?
We, number one, love our clients truly and deeply. We provide great customer service. Our products are simply amazing, but everyone says that our products are tested clinically. So when I tell you, when you use this serum, you will have reduction of wrinkles by 58%, we actually have clinical studies. So I think the authenticity, the brand dedication to education. I have over 360 hours of pre-recorded education for estheticians who want to improve their knowledge and skills, whether it is about anatomy or how to do a proper facial massage. So education is always the cornerstone. Really, truly looking at Repêchage as the brand that really, truly is your partner. Second chance for beautiful skin and beautiful business.
I love that. So that's it. Anybody who's listening, we can find any information in this book, which is amazing, on Repêchage, Instagram. Where else can we get?
Well, I have also my own educational portal called lydiasarfati.com, where all the educational information exists. My books, repechage.com is another great portal that people can learn more about Repêchage, or just come and see us. We have a beautiful academy here in Schenectady, New Jersey, and we're always open to meet you, to see you, talk to you, call us. We're always here.
And we love working with you guys. Top-notch family, top-notch business. We love coming and be a guest at your event last year. It was just simply wonderful. And so top-notch on everything.
Thank you so much, Ronit, Nicole. Always beautiful two ladies. Thank you. I appreciate you taking your time to spend with me. Thank you again.
Thank you. Mwah.